Hey dudes, how's it going? I thought I'd come out for a walk. Nice weather and all that. This is England, you know. You need to get out while you've got weather because it's just gonna rain the next day. I've got a few questions I usually get and I thought I'd, do some sort of question and answer thing because that's what YouTube people do, I guess. And I thought I'd finally do one for you guys, so here we go. Right, first question. What interface do you use? I've been using the Behringer UMC 202 HD for a couple of years now, and it's great. It's basically a copy of a Focusrite type interface, like the Scarlett 2i2, 2i4, that kind of thing. The best part about that interface is, it's 70 quid, which is really cheap. It has a line level switch and a pad switch, so if you've got really high output pickups, active pickups, something like that, it won't clip. You can just turn it down and you'll be fine. As far as gain staging, for rhythm guitar, with all my guitars, I just put the line switch in, the pad switch in, and I set it to about 9 o'clock on the dial. Another thing about interfaces is these days, the past 10 years or so, whatever it is, they all sound really good. It wasn't the case sort of 20 years ago. So, if you've got one that's half decent, it's got a half decent pre, you'll be all right. The only one I wouldn't recommend is the Behringer UM2. I did use that for about a year and it's pretty bad. All plastic construction, it's got a different pre on it, and it would clip. The first sign of any kind of signal, it would just clip. Even with the DI box with a pad on, it would still clip. It was a really, really bad interface, so yeah, don't buy that one. Next question I get a lot is, what pickups are in your guitar? And referring to the Court KX1Q, it's got a Seymour Duncan distortion in the bridge. The Trembucker version, so it's the TB6, I think. I love it. For lead guitar, it just screams. I'm just getting distracted by the scenery. It's just really nice. This is like 10 minutes from my house. Okay, back to it. What monitors do you use? What studio monitors? What speakers? Honestly, guys, I'll cut back to me in the house and explain there. Back at the house, and as you can see, my work area is in a bedroom with high ceilings, loads of parallel walls, zero acoustic treatment. Well, except, some curtains, they dampen it a bit. I threw these up to dampen the room a bit. This is where I make music and make videos. As you can see, my monitors, it's an old hi-fi from 2009. And to make it very clear, I know these aren't studio monitors, but I love the sound of them. I do have a pair of M Audios under the bed. I never use them. I use them if I have to travel somewhere for mixing, but besides that, they stay under the bed. I'm so used to hearing stuff through these speakers that I stuck to mixing on them. This is my laptop. It's a fairly modest HP. It was about 600 odd quid. But it is SSD and it's an i7. There's my interface, it's the Behringer. It's set to instrument and the pad switch is in. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same situation where you haven't got a good room. You're just making do with the space you got. You're making do with the gear you've got. And you're wondering, how do you mix without acoustics treatment or good monitors? Well, the answer is references. And this can be anything you like, anything you enjoy, anything you like the sound of. Just try and match your mix to that mix. I'm not saying copy it, I'm not saying copy the style, the exact sounds, but the general vibe, the general gist of how that mix sounds. Try and match it with your ears. And this process, especially when you're working in an environment like this, which is not ideal at all, it can be really hard. But if you know your speakers and you know your room, you'll know what to listen for. I always check my mixes on these cheap earbuds. These are a pair of Sonys. And they're about, 15 quid? I check everything on these. Yep, completely unprofessional, but I don't care. It works for me, and if you like the sound of my mixes, this is where they come from. Okay, another question I get a lot is, what's your favorite amp sim? I mean, that's like picking my favorite food, What's your favorite type of pizza? What's your favorite sandwich? I mean, as far as the free stuff, I always point people towards Nalex stuff. Pectifier, Ninja, Crunchband's really nice for lead guitar, for the free stuff. That's available for PC and Mac. My first choice most of the time is something by Vadim Taranov, or now rebranded to Vitar amps. It has loads of free stuff. My favorite is the Mega Fuzzy MK4. That amp sim is just world class. It sounds so good. It's got high and low frequency gain controls before you hit the preamp, just to shape the tone as you go in. So you can basically attenuate the low end before you hit the amp. So there's no need for a tube screamer. I love that amp. I've used it on a bunch of things, including Return of the Revenge, my Nest of Scum EP. And there's tons of other Vitar amp sims. Clang is great. If you want a really gnarly, crazy sounding amp sim, that's fantastic for metal. Blades, another great one. That's a paid one, but it's more refined, more tight out the box. Slow Runner, that's fantastic. And there's another free one called Proto 4, which is an updated version of the Mega Fuzzy Mark IV. It's got a few more sort of bells and whistles on it. That's a great amp sim. As far as I don't mind the ML Sound Lab stuff, that's pretty good. I've used that in a couple of demos. Fully featured, you know, it's got a cab loader and it's full of different effects and pedals and whatnot. Ignite Emissary, I know people love that, but I don't particularly love it. I don't really like the sound of it that much, but it is a decent amp sim with some cool features. It's mighty windy out here. I have to get out of the wind. Obviously, my channel is like mainly focused on amp sims and IRs, that kind of thing, guitar related things. I mean, you guys have seen all the stuff I like on my channel quite a few times. I've got my own IR packs, the Barefoot Pack and Red Giant Pack. If you don't know what those are, check them out. I've got videos on both. And last question, what do you use for drums? For years now, I've been using Perfect Drums by Naughty Seal Audio. I've got a whole video on it. I'll link that below. I also use stuff from Ugratone, the Cult Drums 2, VST, fantastic. I've used the Northern Artillery stuff as well. If I'm not using Perfect Drums, I'll usually go to Ugratone, but I do sometimes use the Panda Sound kits as well, which you can load into Perfect Drums sampler engine. And you can use it with PD player as well. All really nice drum kits, all very different. You know, the Panda Sound stuff is super modern, processed, and the Ugratone stuff is the total opposite. It's super raw and more old school sounding. One more quick question, what bass do you use? I use a real bass, not MIDI bass. It's a Squier Jaguar bass. I bought it about 10 years ago. It's all stock. The way I string it is I get a 5-string set, usually Ernie Balls, so it's like a 125 to about 60, I think. So I use the bottom 4 strings and just get rid of the G. And that works really well for all the different tunings I use, because I can go down all the way down to drop B, drop A. It's a great sounding bass for, I think it was about 200 odd quid. Really nice. I don't know where I'm going here. I'm going to find my way back onto the path. Cheers for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And let me know if you want to see more of my face talking. I've been posting on Instagram a lot more. If you got Instagram, just follow me, Resington Heavy Tunes. I put a lot of, you know, ideas on there and photos of stuff I've been working with. And you can message me on there if you want. You know, if you want me to check out a mix or you want help with something, just message me. Cheers for hanging out, guys. And I'm going to try and find my way out of here.